Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Jay from Coding with Jaybird, where I upload weekly tutorials to help build your confidence in coding. Today we're going to have a look at comparison operators and how we write them. Let's dive in. I've opened a comparison operators folder here in VS Code, and in it you can see a comparison-operators.html file and a styles.css file with some simple styling and a main.js inside which we're going to do our coding today. So on the right hand side, I've opened this in the Chrome browser using our live server. And we're going to start with just talking a little bit about what JavaScript operators are, and then we're going to start practicing it. I've created a GitHub account called Coding with Jaybird, and I've written the link in the description below this video. And what I'm doing is every week when I have a tutorial, I'm going to post the code from that tutorial as a repository in the GitHub account. So feel free to check it out if you're interested in looking at my code. All right, so let's get started with JavaScript operators. Now, why do we need them and how do they come in handy? So there are times where we may want to make a decision in our code based on if a condition is true or false. Now, we saw this last week with conditionals such as our if and else statements. So when you have an if or else statement, usually there's a condition that you want to check for, and that's where comparison operators come in. So comparison operators allow us to evaluate these conditions. So a comparison operator compares two values. Now these two values are known as operands. And what they do is they return a Boolean, so a true or false value. So here on the left, I've given an example because oftentimes we're going to see that an expression will be wrapped in parentheses like so. So I have these round brackets on either side. So let's say this was an if or else statement. We'd have if and then this condition, and then we'd have our curly braces and some code would follow. So in this case, I have variable 1, which is also known as an operand. And what I'm doing is using this comparison operator, the double equal sign in the middle here, I'm comparing variable 1's value to the value of variable 2. And now because I'm comparing these two, they're both called operands. Okay, so let's start with the actual code itself for today. Now, I'm a fan of Game of Thrones, so I figure why not use that for today's demo. So Game of Thrones, let's start with the seasons. So I'm going to create a variable called seasons. And if you don't already know, there were 8 seasons for Game of Thrones. And the character, so let's say one of the main characters, his last name was Snow. So let's say we have a variable called character with the value of Snow. I'm going to use these two variables and their set values of 8 and Snow to demonstrate what comparison operators look like and how we use them. So our first comparison operator, as you can see on the list on the right here, is called is equal to, and it's a double equal sign. So is equal to, and we use this with the double equals. Now, what this is equal to operator does is it compares two values. Now, these two values can be numbers, strings or booleans, logical or object values, and it checks to see if they're the same. For each example that I show here, what I'll do is I'll console log the statement itself. That way there's a bit more clarity on the right here when we display it in the console. So let's say our first one will be console log. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this double equals to see if seasons equals 9. So this is our is equals to operator. So the actual comparison itself, I'll do here. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to console log the result of the comparison between seasons, double equal sign, and 9. So what I'm doing here is I'm checking to see if the value of seasons is equal to the number value 9. Here you can just see seasons equal 9. This is just our statement telling us that this is what we're comparing. And the result of seasons equals 9 is false. And that's because seasons equals 8 and it's not equals to 9. So this returns false. Now the next comparison operator that I'd like to look at is called the strict equal to. Now this one's a little different. Strict equal to. Now this is displayed with 3 equal signs. And what the strict equal to operator does, it's very similar to the previous one, the is equal to with the double equal. However, this one checks to see that the operands have the same values, but it also checks to see if they're the same data type as well. Okay, so let's create a console log of the actual comparison itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to check if seasons is absolutely equal to or strict equal to 8. And we do that, and I'm just going to console log the resulting Boolean value of true or false. And we're going to do that by having these two operands. So seasons is strict equal to 8. And when I save it, we can see it's true. And that's because seasons does have a value of 8, which matches this. And the value here, 8, is of number data type. And this 8 is also of number data type. So this returns true. Now, what if I wanted to check if seasons was absolutely equal to a string value of 8? So let's test that out. Console log seasons is strict equal to the string value, so we'll have it in our single quotes here, 8. So I can test that by typing in seasons is strict equal to a string value of 8. When I save that, you can see we're getting a false answer. And the reason we're getting a false is because seasons does have a value of 8, but it's got a numerical data type, whereas here we're comparing it to a string data type. So in this case, we're going to result to a value of false. All right, let's have a look at our next comparison operator called the is not equal to. And this is shown with an exclamation mark and an equal sign. So what I'm going to compare is character, and I'm going to see if character is not equal to, let's say, the string value of Targaryen. So let's console log the result of the comparison between character not equal to the string value of Targaryen. And when I save this, we get true. So why do we get true? Well, character has a value of snow. And we're trying to see, is snow not equal to Targaryen? And that's true. Snow is not equal to Targaryen. So this returns true. Now let's do another one. Let's say we want a console log. And this time we're going to check to see if character is not equal to snow. Oops. So let's console log the resulting value of the comparison. Character is not equal to snow. And as expected, we get false because character is equal to snow. So when we're saying, is character with the value of snow not equal to snow? Not true. Okay, so let's try another one now. The next one in our list is called the strict not equal to. So the strict not equal to operator looks like this. It's an exclamation mark with two equal signs. Now try not to get confused with the strict equal to, because here we have a triple equals and our is equal to has double equal. When we're dealing with nots, it's a little different. The not equal to only has the one equal, and the strict not equal to has two equal symbols. All right, so let's test this out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to compare seasons not strict equals to 8. And now let's actually do the comparison and log its resulting value. So seasons not equal to 8. Now we can see that seasons has a value of 8 and it's of number data type. So we're trying to see if the data type and the value is not equal to what's on the right hand side. So is 8, which is a number data type, not equal to 8, which is also a number data type? No, they are equal. Hence, this returns false. Now let's do another comparison. Because this 8 is the exact same number data type, we're getting a value of false because we're saying that they are equal. Let's test it with a string value this time. So what I'll do is I'll say console log, and let's test seasons not strict equal to the string value of 8. Console log, and now let's have a look at the resulting value of the comparison. Seasons not strict equal to a string value of 8. Now when I save this, as we expect, we'd get a value of true. And the reason is because seasons, though the value of seasons is 8, its data type is a number data type. And we're trying to see if it's absolutely not equal to a string data type. And it's not. So because it's not, this returns true. Now let's have a look at the second half of our comparison operators. These are basically comparing things or values of variables that are greater than or less than. So let's start with our first one, which is greater than. Greater than. And we do this with the right arrow symbol. What I'd like to do is I want to have a look at if seasons is greater than 5. So let's have a look at the resulting comparison of seasons greater than 5. And it's true. And that's because seasons has a value of 8, and 8 is greater than 5. So the greater than operator, all it does is it takes the operand on the left and it checks to see if it's greater than the operand value on the right. In this case, it is. So this returns true. Okay, the next comparison operator is called the greater than or equal to. Now this one is written with the same right-hand arrow or right-hand angled bracket followed by the equal sign. Okay, so what I want to do in this case is I want to check to see if the value of seasons is greater than or equal to the value of 12. So let's do a console log and have a look at the result of the comparison. So is seasons greater than or equal to 12? And we can see it's false. And that's because seasons has a value of 8, which is less than 12. So this returns false. Okay, now let's test it to see what happens if we compare it with 8. So is the value of seasons greater than or equal to 8? Okay, and we'll have a look at it here. Seasons greater than or equal to 8. And we can see it's true. So seasons has a value of 8, which is not greater than 8, but it is equal to. So this tells us that we are able to assess if the value of the left operand is either greater than or equal to whatever's on the right-hand side. So this returns true. Okay, we're almost down to the very end here. Our second last comparison operator is the less than. Now this one we use the left-hand angled bracket. And let's just write our comparison statement first. What I want to compare is I want to see if seasons is less than the value of 10. So let's see the result of the comparison. Seasons less than 10. And we can see true, and that's because seasons has a value of 8, which is in fact less than the value of 10. So this returns true. And now our very last comparison operator is the less than or equal to. Now this one's written the same way with the left-hand angle bracket first. Now let's write the statement that we want to compare. So I want to see, is the value of seasons less than or equal to 8? And if we compare the two, seasons less than or equal to 8, we can see it's true. Now seasons has a value of 8, which isn't less than 8, but it is equal to. So it's checking one or the other. And this returns true. And lastly, let's see what would happen if we said seasons is less than or equal to 7. Console log. And let's see what the result of this is. And we can see it returns false. And that's because seasons has a value of 8, which is not less than 7. So this comparison returns a value of false. I hope you have a good understanding of comparison operators and how and when to use them. That's it for today's video. I've really enjoyed making these videos so far, and there are many more to come. So if you enjoy them, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so I can make more videos for you in the weeks to come. Until next week, keep on coding.